So the next module we're doing here is covering youth sports, and this is a topic that is of significant interest to myself. I've done some research and writing on youth sports in the past. The readings for this week are a little bit different. They're not from the textbook, and those will be posted with the learning guide on the page. Should be right under this video. Both of the readings are not really quite the same as the ones we've done up to this point, in the sense that they aren't specifically focused on ethical or moral issues. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, when you read through them, just kind of think about the ethical issues that are there, and how you might resolve or think about resolving some of the issues related to youth sports from an ethical perspective. I wouldn't say that you're going to have to inject it into there, because there's definitely ethical issues and aspects to the issues that have a moral aspect. So it's definitely there, but it's not quite as much, in your face, and really not quite as philosophical as the previous readings. Although the one reading definitely does have some philosophical leanings in it. So yeah, the one reading is really kind of an interesting writing by a guy who kind of reflects on his father's experience in baseball, Little League baseball, and it really wasn't even Little League, because this was like in the 30s and 40s and kind of preceded that, and kind of goes through a historical context of how youth sports, in particular baseball, has changed in America. And I could really relate to that at my age. I was kind of in the middle of what he talks about. I'm kind of that middle generation, and could relate, because I remember my dad talking about what it was like for him when he grew up playing sports, and he grew up on the farm, and never had the opportunity to play sports because he had to work. But he loved baseball, in particular his the sport he had access to was fast pitch softball, and he played that a lot when he was young. And when I got into grade school and high school, he really encouraged me a lot to played with me a lot. And of course, I got involved in Little League and all that kind of stuff too. And, I have a lot of fond memories of that. But it's definitely different today, the way that kids experience that. And my own kids really haven't been involved in youth sports the same way that I was. And so, it's a very interesting issue, and something I think that I'm looking forward to kind of seeing some of the things that come out on the discussion board related to that issue. And then the other article is an article that looks at some of the movements to de-emphasize competition in youth sports, and it looks at really takes the stance that there's some significant problems with doing that. And I think it's an interesting article. I would say agree with the article. That's neither here nor there, but I think it's well written. It goes into quite a bit of detail. And I think it will be thought provoking, and that's what I'm just hoping from both of the articles, that it can get you thinking about some of these things. it's not definitely not an exhaustive take on youth sports. We could spend a lot of time on that topic, but I want to try to kind of keep it focused on the ethical issues we can talk about related to youth sports and how we can look at that from a Christian perspective. And that's the other thing that I think is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I would like you to really try to think about, how as Christians we can come into the discussion about youth sports and bring a unique perspective that can contribute to, I think, hopefully answering some of these questions and making youth sports a great experience for kids. All right. Looking forward to it.